I think that could be a first on this podcast. Mladen has something hyper bullish to say about Hivemapper. Hey, and we're live. How are we doing, guys?
We are doing.
We're doing great. How are you?
Yeah, good. Happy to have had a little tokenomic update from Hivemapper, which is why we're here today to discuss. It's been made for some good reading for while I'm ill. I got coronavirus over the weekend, so I've been tucked up and reading the tokenomics information, which has been nice.
Damn, COVID.
Mm.
I've had it twice already, but it's still with us somewhere.
And it still doesn't want to make friends with me.
Lucky for you then. That's okay. Although this must be fine. I haven't actually been that bad, so touch wood. Not too many symptoms, so I'm alive.
All right, nice. I see Mladen has the Hivemapper hat.
This is not a sponsored video.
Not a sponsored video. It's not financial advice either.
No. Well, bye.
What it might be, or hopefully will be, is interpretation on Hivemapper tokenomics advice. Because as we said, right, that's the reason we're here today. We've got a bit more information out on the Hivemapper Foundation website. We'll put a link in the description below. So we've all been reading away, and I guess it makes sense maybe if I try and summarize my main takeaways. You guys can jump in afterwards, and then we'll discuss what we need to discuss.
Yeah, I think what we should say before you jump in, Leo, is that this is information that has appeared on the Hivemapper Foundation website. So there has been no official announcement on the updated tokenomics yet, right? So the information that we will discuss here might not be final. So there might still be changes, but nevertheless, it's still interesting and worth to discuss. Yeah, go ahead, Leo.
Yeah, 100%. Could be more info to come. But from what we can see so far, I guess for me, the main takeaway, what I sort of was looking for going into this was as client revenue comes in, right, as we get paying clients starting to appear and paying for the mapping data, what percentage of that revenue coming in is going to be going towards buying honey off the open market in order to fund those map credits. So for anyone listening that doesn't know, the way it works is a client pays to use the map. Let's say there's $1,000 comes in. The mechanism is that client needs to buy honey in order to convert the honey into map credits. They then use those map credits to consume the map or to use the service, basically. Why is this a good thing? The client buying the honey off the open market should have a positive impact on the price of honey. All the contributors are earning honey, and therefore the value of what we have been earning goes up. So that's what we want to see. And the final part is, as they use those map credits, Hivemapper is then taking the burnt honey, or basically burning the honey, and then reissuing it to contributors as those map credits are used. So it's burnt and then it's reminted. So the amount of honey in circulation stays the same, but there's more like dollars going into the system, which should push the price up. So what I wanted to see was a nice high percentage of client revenue coming in versus honey getting bought in the open market. And the result is awesome. It's actually 100% of revenue coming in goes to buying honey. And so for me, the main takeaway was awesome. This is very, very bullish in my opinion. It's the way it should be. It's the way I want it to be. And they seem to deliver. So that's great. They give some examples in the review. So I recommend everyone who's interested to go and read through them to understand a bit deeper. But yeah, that was the main takeaway for me. So Meije or Mladen, what do you guys think?
Yeah, I was pleasantly surprised because I was not expecting that 100%. To be honest, I would like to have that confirmed by them, like on writing. I was personally expecting something around 40%. Actually, the same division we have with allocation of honeys in general. So for me, I was expecting the maximum of 40% coming back to the market. And if it's 100%, well, I would say hallelujah. That's what it is.
Yeah, from what I understand here, so basically one map credit costs half a dollar cent, and and one map credit gives you the data for one hex, right? For one hexagon of data for 1 week. So if you buy one map credit and you go and you get the data for one hex, you can view all of the data within 1 week within that hex. So what they state here is that 50 map credits gives you the right to the raw data of exactly one kilometer. So one hex is about 20 meters. So what is interesting here, I think, is that they give a number of examples, but the price of the map credits is fixed. From what I understand, it's something that is actually set by the Hivemapper Foundation, that is fixed, but depending on demand and etc., they might change it. But what is interesting is all of the examples that they give is that for all of the map credits that are bought by customers, right, the fixed ratio of honey has to be burned. So if the honey token price is at 5 cents and the map credit cost half a cent, you will be able, or then you can get 10 map credits for one honey. But the interesting part here is that although that's always fixed, there are two types of data that can be consumed by customers, right? It's the raw data, so that's the raw imagery that the dashcam mappers upload, but there's also the map features, right? So these are kind of priced differently. However, the examples that they give here is that the intention is that, for example, if a developer comes in and they want to make a tool or a feature for their customer, the expenses on the mapping side are fixed, but then they have to build in their own profit margin, right? So that's a number of examples that they give here in this document. So if a developer comes in and they sell it, then they are free within this ecosystem to kind of set their own pricing for the end customer, which makes sense, right? And I think Hivemapper Inc. is going to be the first kind of developer that builds tools and sells to normal customer, right? B2B sales. But then there can be others as well that are also able to use all of this data and build useful tools. So in the end,
just to maybe jump in for a second, Mario, give an example of that. So what you're saying is like Hivemapper can sell the raw data and the features to whoever they want, but then also other companies can come and build on top of the Hivemapper ecosystem. So for example, I could make a tool for real estate investors, which lets them jump into my online portal, analyze the buildings that they're looking to buy. I can make this possible by using the Hivemapper data. I will pay the Hivemapper Foundation the 0.005 cents per map credit, but I can charge my end client whatever I want for the product that I'm using. So I could charge them, I don't know, like double that, triple that, quadruple that.
Exactly. And so, it's a little bit like it's the case with Helium, right? You have like Nova Labs that is one company that uses or that builds on top of the on the open source layer, and what they describe here is a bit similar. So you have Hivemapper Inc. as kind of a advantage, right? Because they are the first one, and they are building for the end customer, but still some other developer can come in, buy the map credits from the Helium Foundation, right? Those honey that have to be burned in order to get the map credits. They have to be burned, and then the developer gets those credits. They can access the data, and then they can build their own products on top of it. So the interesting part here is then, and this is part of the discussion that we had over the last couple of episodes. Let me find it here. So it says here that another restriction on map credit generation takes effect on November 1st, 2023. That is, that honey burned to generate map credits for paid use of map data may not come from pre-minted project treasury. So this is a very important statement because it clearly states that after the pilot phase, any customers that pay real money, real fiat for mapping data, whether it be the raw data or map features, the honey tokens, they have to be burned, or they have to be acquired from the open market and burned. So they cannot come from the pre-minted stash of for example, Hivemapper Inc. Right. So the questions we were having is, okay, if Hivemapper has such a large amount of share in terms of honey, right? They could basically, for many years to come, they wouldn't have to acquire any tokens on the open market. They could just keep burning and just minting the tokens that they have allocated to them, which, if I'm not mistaken, is 20%. Which in this case they clearly state that is not allowed, and that they have to be acquired on the open market.
Which is kind of bullish to me again. Just to put it in the context of a real life scenario, if you were a company and you would like to buy, for example, 1 week of mapping material for the city of New York, that would literally mean that the company that wants to buy those credits, from my calculation, and correct me if I'm wrong, it would be somewhere around $500,000 to $600,000.
Well, the way to work that out is how many kilometers is New York. You times that by 50, because it's 50 map credits per kilometer, and then you that by 0.005.
I'm talking as a region. So imagine that as we compare this to the liquidity pool we have at this moment, which is the last thing I saw half an hour ago was $78,000. That would be a pump of the liquidity of like almost 10 times. And
I think that could be a first on this podcast. Mladen has something hyper bullish to say about Hivemapper.
Yeah, they give me a free pet to talk about. No, I mean,
right though, you're right. There's a small liquidity pool now. As the revenue starts coming in, 100% going towards the token not being bought. That's awesome, man.
Imagine New York wanted to buy a map for like a month, 2 months, 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this could really explode if this is going to be on that level. I mean, you would be pretty much stupid, like plain stupid, to sell your honeys right now. It's not financial advice, but just to give you a little bit of context.
Yeah, well, I think
what happened.
I think as well, from what if you just look at if you just do a simple Google search and you check how much developers are spending on Google Maps, it is absolutely crazy, right? There are just developers with simple apps that are spending 10, 20,000 per month or more, and these are small applications. So for a city of New York, for example, it would be in the hundreds of thousands of dollars, maybe millions of dollars, right, to get all of the data. And actually, if you look at the coverage of New York, it's great, right? So I think the burst as well, even if you don't like the way they are done, I think it's quite bullish indeed. So the other thing that they state here, of course, is that if this only counts for when a project goes into production. So I think we should temper a bit our expectations in the sense that building the AI pipelines and workflows and actually letting Hivemapper Inc. and potentially other other companies or developers as well build really valuable products takes time, right? So we shouldn't expect this to be happening within the next month or two. I think in order to get the pilots and the first, right, Hivemapper has been silently announcing that they have pilots going on. They can't say with whom, of course.
I have a rumor on that one.
A rumor, okay.
So some people did some investigation. How good it is, I don't know, but it points to a company called Waymo, which is an autonomous vehicle company. And that one seems to be pretty much very, very, very active in the region of Phoenix. And there were some discussions behind the scenes. I cannot disclose who is telling me this information, but yeah, it looks like that could be one of the companies that's in the pilot phase at least.
Someone basically got like a map of where autonomous vehicle R&D is going on, right, and then overlaid it with another map, and that's how they came to that. Like, how do they come to that?
I don't know the technical details on that, but I could imagine they could be using the map features, maybe.
Yes, yeah. There's a technical term for it, which I also cannot recall right at this moment. But yes, basically they use the map features, right, and then they slowly build a map with all of the features on there, and then the autonomous vehicles can ingest that data. So maybe we should do a podcast in the future exactly on this topic. There are some great YouTube videos and presentations on the driver assisting and the AI part. But I mean, that would be fantastic. So I think we are in the pilot phase, which is the most obvious. So this is just a personal opinion, but I think we will probably need at least another year, I would say, in order to see a lot of these pilots make its way into a real business to business deal, right? To really get these companies to pay for the data, because in the beginning, of course, Hivemapper just wants to get more and more companies to use Hivemapper's map. So it makes complete sense that they are subsidizing this, even if it's the bursts, right? So that they are, okay, where do you need the coverage? Okay, let's just from within Hivemapper get some bursts in those regions, because in the end of the day, we have to remember that it's critical that Hivemapper offers the best product possible to the end customer, right? If the end customer isn't happy with the map, none of the mapping efforts that anyone does in the community makes any sense. So yeah, one, we should give them time, right? It will take at least another year, I'd say, before we're going to see some solid contracts. And in the meantime, they'll be subsidizing, giving map credits for free for developers, etc. So I'm a little bit concerned, honestly, if what will the token price do until we get there, right? So back to Mladen's point on liquidity, I think that's a very valid question. So even if Hivemapper gets these customers to acquire large amounts of map data and map credits, where are these tokens going to be acquired, right? The liquidity pool isn't big enough at all. So
I guess that's why they say at an appropriate time, right? I think somewhere in the documentation it says we will take the money, and at an appropriate time we will then buy the equivalent amount of honey off the open market. So let's say someone gives them $200,000, like there's going to be too much of a price impact. The liquidity is not there. They might buy a bit now, a bit in a month, a bit in a month after that, which I think is okay.
I think the other point that might be valuable is actually get some insight from the foundation. How are the bursts going to work, right? Are they also going to be acquired on the open market and burned, and then the wallets? So since it's decentralized, it makes sense that we know which wallets from the foundation are buying the tokens and the honey tokens, and then which wallet are burning these tokens.
Yeah, I have the numbers.
Okay.
Last week, Gabe said that everything on CoinMarketCap is now up to date and live, which mean all the numbers like a market cap, the volumes, circulating supplies and stuff like that. That's all now correct according to real numbers. So right at this moment, there is a circulating supply of 172,470,645 honeys.
But the important factor for the price, right, is within the liquidity pools on decentralized exchanges, what is the volume there? So how much honey and how many dollars are in those pools? That's where we do the swaps. But I think we're probably the weeds a little bit too much there. I think that jumping back to the point you just made a second ago, Maya, it's very important, I think, that we do have those wallet addresses of the buying and burning the honey when the client revenue comes in. And then also the wallet address issuing the map credits, just in case someone wants to reconcile that they can. And I think that you asked, like, how will the mechanics of bursts work? Like, the impression I got from reading the article is like anything that is client money coming in will result in honey getting bought off the open market. So bursts are exactly that, right? Unless it's just a POC, a proof of concept from Hivemapper saying, let's see what happens if we put a burst there. If a client is giving them revenue, then they will buy honey off the open market at some point. Is the way that I read it.
Yeah, it really depends how they treat the bursts. Do they treat the bursts like a period, like a pilot to come to the map level quality they want, or is every incentivizing from a company like buying map credits anyway? So it really depends what they want to do with it. You could imagine they say, okay, well, we will be in a pilot and we will incentivize the pilot while we acquire a certain coverage, and then we will buy real data credits.
So guys, I'm just looking here at Orca, at the Orca DEX. The current liquidity is $25,000. So there should be an equal amount of honey on the other side of that.
Then you've got raising as well, don't you? There's like a few different liquidity pools.
Yeah, there is 78.
Yeah, this is the biggest one.
Yeah, well, we have the aggregated one, like you can see it on Bird's Eye, and it's $79,000.
And I did I looked back for like a few weeks ago. I just had a look out of interest. What was the volume for the month, like the 30-day prior to that? And I think there was like 85K of honey bought in terms of dollars. There was 90K sold. So there was like minus 5,000 on the balance sheet. So that's kind of the volumes we're looking at.
It says here, total value locked right now in the liquidity pool is $41,000.
In which liquidity pool?
In the Orca one, which is the highest volume of the two of them.
So any large amounts of fiat coming in will definitely like have quite a considerable effect. But that's what, that's what we want. Like if that happens, people start selling. But I still think that the point you made, Maya, is also very important, right? Taper your expectations. This isn't going to happen overnight. It's going to take a long time between like these proof of concepts happening and large clients being onboarded. So it's super bullish news, this article, but it's not going to happen overnight.
Yeah, and it also means that we are going to have to slowly increase the liquidity in terms of pixels.
Like if the price does a 10x, then more people will start selling and the price will go back down. It's like supply and demand will balance it out. And
yeah, because
as long as there's an uptrend, that's all we care
because
about.
they state in the article that they will use pricing oracles. So that's also an interesting point. So okay, what pricing oracles are going to be used across which platforms, right? Are they going to use decentralized exchanges? What kind of oracles are going to be used? But then again, of course, this is stuff that's going to play out over the next couple of months. But yeah, I definitely agree that we still have to wait for the final announcement. I think it's also important to kind of mention that, because this is not the final announcement. This is just information that we are tracking down on the foundation website. But it's definitely bullish, and I'm glad that Hivemapper has listened and understood that these are valid concerns by the community, and that they are working on actually addressing these concerns with real dates, right? Because November 1st is a real date. Why November 1st?
Let's talk about that. I don't like the way that I interpret it is we've been doing a load of bursts. Maybe some of them have been funded by clients, and we've just been burning honey that's been in one of our wallets. And we're not going to do that from November the 1st. November the 1st onwards, we're going to buy on the open market. But why November the 1st? That seems a real arbitrary date. What has been happening up to November 1st?
Yeah, I don't think there's.
Well, we will know that on November the 2nd, right?
I don't think token unlock has much of an effect on that. I don't see how that's relevant.
I don't think it really matters either, because the higher the honey price, the more map credits you're going to get for each honey. So because the honey price is pretty low right now, right? It's at around a cent. It doesn't make a lot of sense for Hivemapper to just burn millions of honey tokens right now for map credits at these pricing. It makes much more sense for them to wait until the honey price increases, because then they'll get more credits, map credits, for the amount of honey. So it doesn't make sense to say, okay, yeah, they chose November 1st, because then they can burn a bunch of honey and get a bunch of map credits that they can stash before this goes into effect. But I don't think that makes, from a practical standpoint, makes much sense, because the honey price is quite low right now.
I think if they issue map credits to a client, when they're saying they're using price oracles, I assume they're saying that as soon as, like, the second that map credit is being sent to a client, that's the price that we're taking, the amount of honey that we need to buy back and burn against.
Yeah. I hope so, right? I don't think it makes sense, especially for an accounting, from an accounting perspective, to sit on tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars and then find the right price. I don't think that's the idea, right? I think as soon as it hits, the foundation is going to calculate, okay, this is the amount of honey tokens that have to be acquired, and then this is the amount that has to be burned.
Final, this is completely unrelated. It's just a question that came to my mind earlier that was kind of interesting. You distinguished the two types of purchases customers will be making. So for the raw data and for the map features. So can you just distinguish, like, what is or maybe Mladen, what's the difference like between those two from a client perspective?
Well, I think the main distinction is like what kind of company is buying the credit. So yeah, it really depends on the project, I think, to in a very basic way. I think.
No, what I'm saying, what's the difference between the raw data and map features?
Yeah, well, raw data is actually the data that we provide, what we know as imagery. Those are like JPEGs, which you acquire, and then you can do whatever you want with them. While map features, it's actually a product by Hivemapper that they produce from the raw imagery. So that's the difference. So actually, raw imagery, I mean, the features are the first product on the network.
And are they going to be generated automatically via like the AI machine learning tool that people are training at the moment?
I think so.
That's cool.
I think so, but I think they do it in a more controlled way. It's not that every image is being processed and that a feature are being extracted. I think they do it in batches. So there is a batch, of course, to train the system, but there will be, of course, batches that they use whenever the client wants that, because it needs a lot of computational power to get those features out.
Something like a pothole or a road sign, a point of interest would be one of those features.
Yeah, that's an example that they give as well to kind of detect potholes, for example. But I think from the map features, that's one of the basic products that Hivemapper Inc., from, if I'm not mistaken, is going to offer. But I'm sure that Hivemapper Inc. is going to offer other services as well. And then on top of the base pricing, you're gonna pay a extra commission for Hivemapper Inc., right? Because it's a for-profit company. So all of the tokenomics that we've discussed is just the raw amount that has to be bought on the open market. But for every added value service, you are going to have extra pricing, right? So if Hivemapper needs to run a bunch of AI on servers, etc., and spend a lot of engineering time to develop specific solutions, then it makes absolute sense that it's going to cost more. So don't think, if you're interested in buying Hivemapper data, that's going to be 5 cents per hex, right? It's going to be much more depending on what data you are consuming. If you're consuming raw data, you can acquire it at the half cent per hex. But if you're buying processed data, then from Hivemapper Inc., for example, then you're going to pay more and more depending on how much margin they have as well.
Yeah.
All right, guys, I think we have 30 seconds left.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah, that's right. I think, great summary of everyone go out and read the tokenomics bit yourself on the foundation website. But overall super positive, and it's great to have like a positive episode.
Yeah, that's nice.
Definitely, I think it's very promising. I think we should definitely look out for the next couple of months for some announcements for customers. And
cool.
All right,
Till the next one.
See you in the next one.
Okay.
Cheers.
Bye.